Excalibur number 15 is the 21st chapter of the 22-part Ten of Swords event, and a particularly effective issue from writer Tini Howard because the story she's been telling throughout Excalibur and the happenings of Captain Britain, Otherworld, and Apocalypse are all absolutely central to the world of mutants in this moment. Today I'll answer, what has Saturnyne's plan been this whole tournament event? Where are the Captain Britain Corps? Does the setup and central presence of Tini Howard's Excalibur pay off in Ten of Swords? And theories and predictions for what's to come in X-Men with only the destruction issue left after this moment. Hey everybody, I'm Dave Busing, founder and editor-in-chief of comicbookherald.com. You are listening to Krakin Krakoa number 123. If you like the Comic Book Herald YouTube channel or Krakin Krakoa, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing. Comments on your thoughts on the issues or the video are also greatly appreciated. Quick announcement for Comic Book Herald here for the Krakin Krakoa fans. I will be doing another Krakin Krakoa live this upcoming Saturday, November 28th. It'll be in the AM. You can find the stream linked to here in the show notes. I'll be joined by Blurred Without Fear and Verno from the Cerebros podcast. We'll be doing a Ten of Swords post-game report. Come join us for that one. Otherwise, spoilers will follow. So, in X-Men number 15, the preceding chapter in this event, Apocalypse defeats his wife Genesis, but leaves her alive to give in to the pull of the Annihilation helm, which Genesis puts on and summons forth the hordes of Amenth into Otherworld, leading to all-out war with Otherworld, Krakoa, and frankly, all reality in the balance. You have all the remaining Krakoan swordbearers still, in Otherworld holding the line, right? So they're fighting off these forces of Amenth, preventing them from getting through one of these gates to both destroy the Starlight Citadel, where Saturnyne, is housed, and to eventually get to Krakoa, which is really the thing they're most, worried about. Storm and Apocalypse in a moment here in Krakoan during battle. They shout to each other, again, in the specific Krakoan language, never surrender, which if you had a hard time translating that, me too. Some of the letters were quite fuzzy, but it's good to see Krakoan used in a battle cry by those two. The issue is from writer Tini Howard, artist Mahmud Asrar and Stefano Caselli, colors by Sunny Gao, Rachelle Rosenberg, and letters by Clayton Cowles. So there are some enjoyable moments. So as battle, rages around all of our remaining mutant characters here, we do have a great moment of Doug Ramsey giving Apocalypse marriage advice after like less than 24 hours, maybe 48, of wedded bliss. It's completely absurd and very funny, especially Apocalypse's absolute rage when he's talking about centuries of trying to get back to his wife. I mean, I'm quite enjoying this newfound relationship between Doug and Bay the Blood Moon of Araco, but their literal love at first sight is still requiring immense suspension of disbelief. Let's not sit here and pretend this is anything new to Marvel Comics. On the My Marvelous Year podcast I do, we joke a lot about Silver Age Johnny Storm seeing Crystal of the Inhumans run through an alley and fall head over heels in love with her, like immediately, but Doug and Bay, like they're on that level, and they just got surprised married, and it's already like the tightest relationship in X-Men, which is fairly absurd, but again, enjoyable. In terms of who the Krakoan swordbearers are actually fighting, it's primarily Pog, the Children of Apocalypse, Sound's Death, and Annihilation and her hordes of Amenth. We have White Sword in this issue, Bales somewhat predictably, Bay the Blood Moon signs with Loverboy Doug, Redroot still in Jim Jasper's prison, and Solemn is hiding on Earth, as we will officially learn in Destruction. Annihilation lays out her grand plan, which is pretty damn simple. All conquest of everything all the time. And again, things are looking pretty hopeless for the Krakoans. They are extremely outnumbered here throughout this issue of Excalibur, but of course there are going to be some final cards left to play, particularly, of course, by Saturnyne. We do too get like Jubilee gets a good moment, finally. This was deeply unexpected. So Tini Howard gets to lean into the actual X-Men parts of this narrative, which is good, right? Like she gets to write Wolverine, she gets to write Storm, she gets to write the actual crucial Ten of Swords moments here, instead of being kept to her own quirky Excalibur corner. And I think it actually helps frame and set up this moment she built in Excalibur with Jubilee and the Green Priestesses of Otherworld. It makes it more effective, right? Because it's connected to everything else that is going on, and it's a pretty crucial moment in this issue. I'm going to talk more or less nonstop about how much of this event I precogged, at least as the event rolled along. I feel pretty good about the amount of things I nailed here, but I did not see a good Jubilee save coming, like, the damn Lord of the Rings elves coming out with their bows firing, like, out of the trees. Did not see that coming at all, and it's a really effective moment. It actually gives Jubilee something to do that is meaningful, and it ties back to previous issues of Excalibur, where we saw Jubilee, Shogo, and these priestesses make a connection. So, for her part, Saturnyne has a story here going on. There's a big, like, what's in the box moment. What's in the box? Well, it turns out it's Captain Britain shards that Saturnyne has her, loyalists keeping, and they dump them out on the floor for her in her little citadel. We got Saturnyne here as battle rages all around her, she's going full Cersei, right? She's drinking red wine, she's painting a mural, and talking to her dragon while Otherworld burns around here. I did find this pretty enjoyable, like her relationship with Shogo as it has developed, you know, really like manipulating but also utilizing this dragon and this reality warping dragon fire is very fun to use it now to help her do her puzzle while she is you know, trying to prep, but clearly she's planning something much bigger than that and not just playing games, you know, and like, let's just say it, I precogged the absolute flark out of the Captain Britain Corps, called that a long while back. This is very much what I've been waiting for in the Howard run, and while there were rocky steps getting to this moment, I'm glad we're here, right? We get the return of the Captain Britain Corps, and hitting it at this point in the event is perfect and needed. It's really funny too to me that Saturnyne could do a whole ass 1,000 piece Betsy puzzle and only realize it's not Brian Braddock on the final piece. like she did the whole puzzle and then only in the final moment was like, wait, that's Betsy, and then she gives out a very dramatic no. So I love that Saturnyne's gambit here is to return the Captain Britain Corps to Otherworld, but I am fuzzy on some of the details. Like, were all these Captain Britons already in existence across the Omniverse, just not called to the Starlight Citadel by Saturnyne? If so, why not? Or did Saturnyne have to do this Betsy puzzle / love spell to return them all to existence? That's how I read it the first time, you know, like these Captain Britain Corps individuals came back to existence via this spell, but I couldn't say for certain that that's exactly what happened. I do think, too, that Saturnyne's deep desire to have Brian Braddock returned to the Captain Britain role and return to her side, I think most essentially, right? Like, there is a deep romantic relationship there, which is why she's concocting a love spell. You know, it's spelled out very literally. It's a story angle that only makes a lot of sense from X-Men history outside of the Dawn of X, right? Like, if you've been reading Excalibur, you know, throughout its history, which in many ways is fine, but I would have liked to see that focus hit more effectively throughout the 14 issues of Excalibur prior to this moment. You know, we get the tease, obviously, in the Ten of Swords event with Brian, Betsy, and Jamie all trapped in Saturnyne's tower, right? Like, it's not like it's a secret, but I think in selling through the absolute depth of her, or what they call here true desperation, in order to bring Brian Braddock back to her side as like a romantic interest and a protector, I don't know that that got sold through purely in the Dawn of X. Again, there's a history there, which makes it more powerful and more potent. For that, you got to go back and read, you know, the Claremont and Davis era of Excalibur, and of course all the way through. So I also too, like, I have no idea what to make of Monarch Jamie Braddock's rogue Captain Britain Corps, which is a development that's been in the Tini Howard Excalibur run, or frankly Jamie's role at all here. Like, it seemed like he should have had more to do with things, being an Omega level reality warper, but kinda it was just like, well, let's just get a mutant on the throne and have him around. That'll be fun. I mean, Jamie's always a massive wild card to have in any event, but like, I don't know, it just seemed to me like, why was he making fake Captain Britons again, and shouldn't that have had some impact here in this new core? Like, there's more to the story there to be told as far as I'm concerned. And finally, huge props with the new core for leaning into the fact that clearly there should be more animal Captain Britons. Like, that is a big win, I think, for absolutely everybody. So X-Men and Excalibur, they all set the stage for Destruction, the 22nd chapter of this event. I won't say anything here other than to say it's amazing. I loved it, and I'm going to cover it in the very next video, Krakin Krakoa. So if you want to see that, I have the Ten of Swords playlist linked in the show notes. You can find all those. Otherwise, you can just like and subscribe to the channel, and you'll get the video as soon as it's done. Very spoilery for Destruction, so if you haven't read that or watched my next videos yet, maybe skip over the next minute of me talking. Ready, set, go. But shouts here to the Ten of Swords handbook for some huge misdirects by including Brew and Megan as characters in that handbook. If you listen to my Krakin Krakoa on the handbook, two characters that are included as like focuses, like everyone else is a sword bearer and they're relevant to the Ten of Swords event. And then there's also profiles of Brew and Megan, and they're nowhere to be found in this event. So it's a weird WTF, like, why are they in that handbook? Unless other than to just be like a trolling kind of misdirect. So the Krakoan for Excalibur, the next issue, reads The End, which of course it is. Let me know your comments, theories, thoughts on this issue in particular, and of course the event as a whole. Although again, with my coverage of Destruction, we can talk the official ending of Ten of Swords coming up next. So thanks everybody for listening. You can find ways to support Comic Book Herald over at patreon.com/comicbookherald, which is greatly appreciated. For those of you who don't always get to listen to these via YouTube or would prefer them via podcast, all of my X-Men comics reviews are made available exclusively to patrons through that channel. You get an exclusive Patreon podcast feed there. And otherwise, I'm Dave. You can find my stuff at comicbookherald.com, at Comic Book Herald, pretty much anywhere on social. Look for the best comics ever in my Marvel of Sheer podcast for more from me. And again, Ten of Swords post-game report, November 28th, 2020. Me, Lord Without Fear, Verno from the Cerebros. It's going to be super fun. We did, the three of us did a pregame, essentially, prediction party for Ten of Swords, which was a lot of fun. So if you join that, I got, people seem to dig that. We're going to do it again, but this time it's going to be postgame, and we're going to talk about, like, what is coming next for the X-Men universe, because there's a lot of really exciting teases today that I won't dig into here. So thanks, as always, everybody, for listening, and enjoy the comics.